Test, test, test. 1, 2, 3. Test, test. Sounds great. This is the blue mic. This is the podium mic. This is the podium mic. Test, 1, 2, 3. Test, 1, 2, 3. This is the podium mic.
Testing, testing, testing.
Hello? Does this work? Yeah, this is good? Okay, shall we get started? Okay, all right. Thanks, everyone. All right, so I'm Tom Gibeon. I'm head of school. We're going to begin with a moment of silence, and then I'll start. So I have a little speech, actually, and then I'm going to make a couple of introductions, and then go over kind of the day, the schedule. Oh, but before we do any of that, we have a short video. So Julie, play the video. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Julie, for the video. Today it is my honor to welcome you, the students and parents and friends. We are Sandy Spring Friends School, and we come from a long tradition of Quaker schools, Quaker thought, and Quaker values. The first Friends schools in the United States started in 1688. So we've had some time to consider what works. What sort of education contributes to our leading lives of meaning, lives of purpose? So I'd like to begin with a couple of we believes. We believe the best education, the best educational environment is one where we feel connected, heard, surrounded by friends, and safe. So we do our best to be that kind of school, welcoming, inclusive, respectful, and at the same time challenging, fun, determined to encourage you to find and develop your great natural talent. to see the light within. We believe our school rests on 5 pillars. We are inquiry-based. We question, we are curious, we are open to alternative ideas. We are experiential. Knowledge is stickier, more relevant, becomes scaffolding all the way to the sky when we encounter learning both in the classroom and out. Teachers as mentors. When kids feel that adults care about what they think, how they translate reflection into action, their world expands, and so does ours. Community, inclusive, diverse, fair, and equitable. Our campus as a laboratory. Today is a day for poking around, and you'll be amazed at our campus. I want to leave you with one more thought. Actually, 4 thoughts, inspired by a book I'm reading called A Pursued Justice. First, at Sandy Spring Friends School, speak truth to power. Look problems in the eye and call them out. Don't blink, don't flinch. Be hopeful. Do not despair. Know that the arc of history bends toward justice. Practice quiet, reflection, and for goodness sake, take action. Don't be content, not yet. And finally, create beauty in words, art, theater, woodworking, dance, and in action. Thank you, Kenyatta. So I'm going to introduce division heads. We'll need some more lights up here somehow. I'm going to just have people stand and come up, yeah? David Hickson, our assistant head of school. David Blake. There is no food or drink in the pack. David Blake, the head of our middle school.
It's middle school.
Lisa Long, the head of our lower school, and Jonathan Oglesby, the head of our upper school. So these are the folks who create the vision and lead our school.
No, we try to heal division.
Did I say something wrong?
You said we create division.
Oh, sorry. Create the vision. It's the math teachers who create division. Yeah. And I'm not going to try to introduce all of our faculty. I think almost everybody is here. I would put our faculty up against any school anywhere. They carry the school on their shoulders, and we love them. So for today, lower school. We'll start there. Let's see. Lower school stays here in the pack for now. We're going to you're in the pack. The middle school moves to Westview. So David will take us there. It's the dining room. And the upper school goes over to Yarnell, goes to the library. And so you'll meet Jonathan outside and we'll make our way. So everybody, have a great day. Thank you.
So if you could find a seat, we're going to go ahead and get started. I know there's a lot of wonderful conversations to be had, families seeing each other from over the summer, new wonderful families here engaging with us as well. We will certainly have quite a bit of time for that as well. Yep, come on in. Mhm. Wonderful teachers making their way. Well, absolutely. I will tell you, and I'm glad that Tom, said that about our teachers. I cannot tell you how many hours have been put in, days have been put in. What should be a holiday weekend was put in. Pam, I see it. We're simpatico there. These are teachers who are very, very excited and ready for our year to start. So we're going to go ahead and get started. I want to thank you again for being here and to welcome you to a wonderful, wonderful new school year. Before we truly begin, I just wanted to kind of outline the way the remainder of the day will run, and if we could have that next slide, please, Julie, thank you. From now until about 9:45-ish, we'll have time all together talking about the lower school. Classroom visits are from 10 to about 10:30, so you'll leave here and you'll have that opportunity. Followed by Get Acquainted conferences from 10:45 to 2:30 for those of you who have signed up for today. Please note that the orientation fair will be happening from 10:30 until noon in the Athletic Center, and we can see that we have the map up now as you received that via email previously as well. This really is a good time for people to engage with other entities around campus and to ask some more pointed questions of transportation, for example, food service, to talk to those in the health center and really have some pointed questions answered. So this is a good time for that. Margaret Rosser, Director of Communications, will be up in just a minute, followed by introductions of our wonderful lower school teachers, our classroom teachers, our co-curricular teachers, and then teachers will most likely kind of be dashing off right after that so that they are readying for your arrival in the classrooms and also for the Get Acquainted conferences. I just have two things to share in reference to the conferences that you will be having either today or tomorrow. If you have not signed up as of yet for a conference and would still like to, there are physical sign-up sheets on the outside of each of your teachers' classroom doors. You will not be able to use PTC Fast, which was the online way of signing up for your conferences at this point. So you do still have the ability to sign up for a conference even today. There are spaces available still today, and you do have the ability to sign up for a conference for tomorrow, as we'll be extending those conferences again tomorrow from around 2:45-ish to closer to 5 o'clock tomorrow for those families. Lastly, Get Acquainted conferences are roughly 10 to 15 minutes long, making it virtually impossible to speak about everything that you would like to speak about. I, in fact, I've met with a number of wonderful families this summer, but met with a family this summer, and we literally chuckled about the fact that these Get Acquainted conferences really feel almost like a speed dating type of experience you're having. You're trying to get these things out and get some things back in return. So, please know that to effectively utilize that time, conferences should really just be an exchange about your student and your family. Curricular and programmatic conversations are really better served at back to school night when we can have just a deeper conversation about those. So I really encourage you to kind of use that time effectively. Okay, thank you in advance, friends, for that. And now, without delay, I'm going to have Margaret Rosser come on up and speak with you.
Hi, everybody. I'm Margaret Rosser. I'm Director of Communications. It's great to see so many new and returning faces this year, and we're really excited that you're all with us today. I wanted to just give you a little bit of an overview about what kinds of things you can expect to find on your parent portal page, what kinds of things, the communication you can expect from the school throughout the year, and how you can find out the information that you need in the most efficient way. Some of your kids may know me as the camera lady, as the photo lady. I take a lot of pictures around here, and so I also want to share with you where you can find those and download those if you'd like. One thing, if you have questions, please feel free to reach out to me or Julie Mendez, who's the Associate Director of Communications, for questions about or suggestions for improving the website. We have just revamped our website and launched it this summer, so we're excited about that. We have a new portal page, and we'd love for you to bookmark that portal page because that's sort of your one-stop shop of the information that you need to find. That and the quick links drop down are the two places where you can find a lot, 95% of what you need online. So if you have suggestions for improving the website, or if you noticed, there's an edit that needs to be made on this page or something like that, please don't hesitate. I need all the eyes I can get, believe me. There are a lot of pages on the website, and so if you can, if you find something that doesn't seem a broken link or a typo, please send those to us. There are a lot of calendar updates, and so if you notice, I noticed that Lisa sent me an email where it says that it's in PAC Studio B, and yet the website says it's in Yarnall. Let me know, and so I want to make sure that all that information is consistent. Everybody should have received your first e-newsletter on Sunday. It goes out Sunday at 3 p.m. It's scheduled. I try to finish it by Friday afternoon, knock wood, and then schedule it to go out Sunday at 3. And so that way you can kind of have a vision into what the week ahead looks like for you and your student. So if you aren't receiving those e-newsletters, give me a buzz, and I'm at margaret.rosser@ssfs.org, and we'll figure out. It could be you're just, you need to look in your junk folder, your clutter folder, that kind of thing, and mark us as safe. If you have something that you feel like needs to be shared with the community, we have a FriendSmart section that kind of lists different activities or events that are happening that are not necessarily school events, but that you would like to share with the community. And then issues regarding Vidagami, which is our private photo sharing software. So I'll talk a little bit more about that. So you can go on to the next slide. So if there's one thing that I can leave with you today, it's to please bookmark your parent portal page. The website homepage is lovely and everything, but really, you all have graduated. You are among the elite that have your own personal homepage where you can find your own information on there. So you can see what it looks like on a mobile device. There's a little menu item there. You click that, and then down at the bottom, there's a Springer's login. And there you will see, you can just click on your parents. You will have to log in with your school-issued username and password. If you're on a laptop or a larger device, you'll see it up in the top right-hand column, Springer's login. It's on every single web page. Do the drop down to parents, and you'll get there. So in the next page, you'll see what you'll see there. And so here you'll find some, at the very top, you have kind of the top 8 icons that most used icons and links that you'll need. It includes the directory, it includes Magnus Health, it includes a link to Vidagami, which is the photos one. It includes a link to the e-newsletter, technology help, how-tos, those are a great resource, and of course the Parent Association website, which is also fantastic for those who want to stay connected. You'll also see, if you scroll beneath there, you've got some friendly reminders, and then you have some resources for different divisions, all school and different divisions, and finally you have the calendar, and there are different tabs there, so you can look at the different, you can click on it so you can see list view, or you can see the grid view, whatever works best for you. So you can also sign up for alerts on there, and that way you don't miss anything. All right, and last slide. So there is there's a sheet out front, I think, with sort of 10 ways to stay connected. So I'm just going to highlight a few of those. The first one, again, I'm just going to say it again, parent portal page, that's your page. Go to that, bookmark it. The second is the weekly newsletter that can have, read your all-school section and then your lower school section or whatever section. If you have kids in different divisions, that's going to have your must-know info. The online calendars, the Parents Association is a great resource. Vidagami is, again, where you can find photos of your kids. You know, I'll be posting first day of school photos soon, so they'll be up there. And social media. We'd love you to like us on Facebook, check us out on Instagram, check us out on YouTube and on Twitter. And we hope you all have a wonderful year and looking forward to working with your students the rest of the year. So have a great one.
Thank you, Margaret. And again, should you have any specific questions of Margaret or aspects of communications, please know that there will be someone represented there during the orientation fair from 10:30 to noon. So if any of those questions are still not answered, please feel free. We are certainly here for our next set of folks, which are our wonderful teachers who just provide so much wonderful energy and light to us every day. They are who drive what we are doing in our lower school, which we will talk about in just a bit in terms of where we're kind of moving for this year and some things for you to expect for this year. But I do want to introduce our lower school teachers. If I could have that next slide, Julie. Yes. So our preschool, yes. So our preschool teachers this year in preschool 3 are Lisa Hearing and Chanel Broten. If they could stand, please. Preschool 4, Lori Lagan and Marianne Peacock, if they could stand. Kindergarten classroom, one and only Aaron Scott. And I mean that in a couple of ways, one and only. There we go. Okay, little humor up here. First grade, the wonderful Bella Magani and Sally Enos. Second grade, Catherine Carneal, Amy Curtis. Third grade, Jenny Lingelbach and Jeff Smith. Fourth grade, and a wonderful welcome to Nora Hand, as this is her first year, and also to Linda Garrettson. And a wonderful welcome to our fabulous new duo in fifth grade. Fabulous, Carla Naley and Madeline Silber. Our co-curricular teachers, wonderful co-curricular teachers. We have Amanda Hill, who is our lower school PE teacher. If I could have that next slide, Julie. Erin Scott will stand again as she will teach pre-K4 music. Brenda Benjamin will teach kindergarten through fifth grade music. Maria Rowe is our Spanish teacher for our lower school, preschool 3 through fifth grade. Kate Santarinios is our art teacher for K through fifth grade. And we have the fabulous, fabulous Geza Anderson, who is joining us as our lower school resource teacher. Yep. So we have a fantastic, fantastic group of educators that I have loved working with since stepping into this role, as I am new this year, stepping in June. I am so thankful to all the support I have gotten. I'm so thankful to our new families for whom I worked with every single one of you last year and coming in this year. So I certainly know that I can say to our current families, we have a beautiful, beautiful cadre of new families joining us that we will have just a wonderful opportunity to get to know. So teachers, thank you so much. You can certainly head back to your classrooms if you would like, or you may hang around here if you'd like as well. That is up to you. So I'm a storyteller as well. It helps me to kind of process things that are happening in my world, for which there are a number of things that are happening. As I drove my last child to college this summer and dropped him off, making my husband and I empty nesters at the ripe old age of 25 years old, I thought back over his educational journey. And what I would want any parent to know who chose a Quaker education for their child, as I also did for my son, for his preschool through 8th grade years. I would want them to absolutely know that they made the right decision. Whether you are a family I worked with in admission, and this is your first year, or you and your children have been here for several years, Quaker education values learning that is driven by deep thinking and questioning of information and processes to create something new. What makes this kind of education unique and powerful is that there is an understanding that the greatest knowledge comes from diverse perspectives and people participating in this process. That is what you have here at Sandy Spring Friends School, and specifically what motivates and drives our educators to do what they do in our lower school. If I could have the next slide. The definition of query is a question. However, behind every meaning of a word is the intention of that meaning. The intention of the word query is asking questions in order to find out if something is true or not. From that, the word inquiry is a natural extension, meaning asking for information or investigating. A true focus for this year as a lower school community, which includes not only the students and teachers, but also parents and caregivers and guardians, is the idea of committing ourselves to the ideals of Quaker education, which has its foundations and roots in questioning, querying, and seeking new and deeper understandings in order to create solutions. Next slide, please. In that spirit, there are a few focuses and initiatives that are beginning this year that I'd like to briefly share, but will be further discussed at Back to School Night and at other points of this year, for which Back to School Night is the end of this month on September 26th. As a division, we have worked hard together since the end of last school year to think about ways to strengthen student and parent learning and further provide instruction and experiences that enhance the focus on question, reflection, and action, which is the philosophy that underlies Sandy Spring Friends School's educational progression. Some of these initiatives came as a result of conversations around how often our students have time to openly think about situations or problems and create solutions, and how enriching our math and science programs were. It was through thoughtful discussions that our division determined that a new math curricula with additional layers of data and assessments, a science program aligned to national science standards, and pointed inquiry time that connects to the mind-brain education at the heart of our learning ideals moves us forward as a lower school. I am utterly proud of the lower school farm program that was created with a scope and sequence that supports our science curriculum and allows students in 1st through 5th grades to not only have a deeper integration of the outdoors and the natural world around them into their learning, but a deeper understanding about sustainability and the importance of community farming. Partnerships with entities like A Wider Circle and Capital Area Food Bank, where students will support the community garden, for example, add to the sense of social activism connected to food sourcing that we hope to instill in our students. Preschool through kindergarten teachers have also reflected on the early exposure that students at these stages need to better access this learning later, and will infuse a STEM and science curriculum rooted in science exploration through play in a way that allows for earlier science skill building and understanding. Broader school and home communication is necessary so you, as parents and caregivers, know and understand what is happening in and out of the classrooms to foster learning. This communication further allows you to know why we do what we do and the developmental reasons behind that. In addition to mornings and evenings where you will be invited to see learning in action, our Parent Education Forum, which was formerly known as the Coffee and Conversations, will provide a space for enriched conversations around critical topics specific to us as adults, developing the minds and spirits of children in the lower school. This year, we will alternate between morning and evening times each month in the hope that this makes it more convenient and easier for participation. With that, you have a peek into the direction we are moving this year. As mentioned, I look forward to sharing all that we will do with these initiatives and curriculums and programs as the year proceeds. Now, to speak directly to us as a lower school and what is necessary for you to know as we move through the year, we will kind of take a look at some of those things that are very, very specific to us that we certainly need to know as we proceed forward in our next few weeks. Next slide. So directly in our lower school, we have 142 students from preschool through 5th grade. However, as of Friday, we have 143 students, as we've added a new and wonderful 4th grade family to our midst as well, just this past weekend. Our learning is supported by the Quaker Testimonies and weekly meeting for worship, monthly themes that resonate throughout all content areas, and responsive classroom along with other practices that truly connect the academic along with the social and emotional learning that is crucial at this stage. If we could have the next slide, please. To help in delivering that, we have a wonderful lower school administration that I am a part of. We could go to that next slide, and I will introduce those folks to you now. I, of course, am the head of the lower school, and you would want to be in connection with me about anything. I am open and there and wonderfully available to talk with you and to share with you all of this year. But specifically, I am there for division, supervision and management, home and school collaboration, student life, advocacy and support. I am the student discipline and behavioral person, and so we will have those guidelines for which you are able to reflect on as it pertains to what some of those expectations are for us within our lower school, which can also be found in the community handbook, but we'll take a look at those very quickly this morning. And I am also, of course, the one who really does kind of steer our lower school program and curriculum, though I would not be able to do that without all of the other wonderful people that are a part of the lower school administration. Our next slide, Joel Gunsberg, if you could please stand. Joel and I have been working hard this summer. We really, really have. Joel is, of course, our lower school guidance counselor. He is the direct student social and emotional support. Joel will be teaching directly in the classrooms this year, preschool 3 through 5th grade, in terms of life skills and social skills, a curriculum that he will be bringing in. And so there will certainly be information that is relayed to you as parents and information that will be brought home by your students as well. Friendship and problem solving. All of those areas that are critical to how our students receive and are able to receive any other academic information when they certainly have a good, solid, healthy, emotional outlook as well. Joel is very much connected and responsible for that. He is certainly your parent and family support as well. You know, as we know that as a year progresses, things happen within people's families, whether immediate or extended. That can really have an effect not only on our students, but on us as parents. You know, Joel is really the reach out for that too. So I want you to be aware that he certainly is not only the guidance counselor for your students, but he is for you as parents and for us as faculty. within the lower school as well. In addition, Beverly DeTusa, if I could have that next slide too, if she could stand as well. My slide does not look like that slide, but I'm just going to go with it. And so Bev is one of our two learning specialists in the lower school. She is an academic resource, of course, for students and for teachers. She is there for interpretation of any aspects of our curriculum or programmatic design that we have, any data or assessment information that may come home. Bev is certainly there for that interpretation as well, and also connecting with varying providers and services that you may be utilizing outside of school, but also may be coming into our school environment. That is work that she will do. In addition to Courtney, I'm so sorry. It has been a very long, there we go. Courtney Benson, if she could please stand as well. Yes. In addition to all of those pieces that were mentioned about a learning specialist, of course, Courtney certainly has a wonderful expertise connected around reading and reading instruction, so there are some different focuses there, as well as this year she will be kind of direct administrative support for me. And so I do want folks to know that as well, that if not in contact with me, at certain times you can certainly be in contact with Courtney. So making that very, very aware. And then, of course, any and all things really cannot run effectively. They can run, but they might not run as effectively if we did not have Pam Gilmer, who is our the administrative assistant in the lower school. I'm surprised that she could stand and wave at this point, because just many, many hours have gone into being ready, into readying our building. General lower school questions, always Pam is there to answer those. Daily transportation changes, anything that has to do with attendance or absences, scheduling parent meetings with me and others, and certainly a direct line for homeschool communication. So those are all of the folks that really do support us and support me in what we do every day. So I want to thank them once again for all that you have done and will continue to do this school year. I also wanted to mention and introduce, though I know that she is not here today, again, for those families that I worked with last year as director of lower school admission, we now have a wonderful, wonderful woman, Ashaki Todman, if we could have that next slide, who is our new director of lower school admission. She is not here. She is being a mother today to her son, who is in 3rd grade, and her twin boys, who are in 1st grade, who are all starting their schools as well today. But she has been working significantly since beginning this summer, admitting new families and helping us to grow our lower school. So I look forward to working with her. She supports division-specific admissions events and initiatives, more of those that we will see this year. She is certainly who you speak to if you are wanting to refer a family to our school, or any retention or attrition concerns that you may have as it pertains to our student population. You would certainly want to speak with her as well. Okay. So specifically to our lower school community, there are some things that we certainly want to be aware of. If I could have that next slide. Some of those revolve around the school and home partnership, and what those expectations are, what you can expect from our teachers, and what we should then be able to expect from you. You know, from our teachers, we certainly can expect that a respectful classroom community will be built, that there will be positive relationships, you know, among students and families. that students will develop academically, socially, and behaviorally, and that's where teachers are there to directly assist in that in an appropriate manner. A sense of mutual respect and fairness certainly is an expectation of our teachers and what they will gain in the classroom, and then open communication, for which in certain grades you will learn about some of the specific communication pieces and then some of those new initiatives that we have this year. What teachers should be able to expect from you as parents or caregivers is that same open communication. You know, we need to know from you, we need to hear from you those things that affect your child's daily life or things that we should know to make this the most optimal school year. Collaboration and problem solving with teachers and administrators, we certainly expect for that. Support of our lower school academic, social, and behavioral expectations. And should there be concerns around that, open communication around what those concerns are. Again, a sense of mutual respect and fairness. Certainly parents, have that expectation, as that is what they will give as well. And a general support for, and overall support for our Quaker values here at Sandy Spring, for which you will become aware more so of those as new families. You will certainly become more aware of what those are and how they affect your child, and the way that looks in the daily lives of your child. And so just having that support for what we do and what underlines our program is certainly needed. An additional important piece, and next slide, to the learning are the inquiry guides, for which they are an extension of what we really do consider in terms of librarians or media specialists. They really go further in terms of the technology integration and support that they provide in our classrooms. Sarah Ostreich, who may or may not still be here. Oh, there we go. And there is Sarah. Thank you for standing. Sarah is the director of our Inquiry Guides team, and she works very closely with teachers and students to help them integrate and utilize technology effectively. She really has been very instrumental in creating what will be the inquiry hour that our students will have this year, that very much connects to the mind-brain education and inquiry work that really, supports our curriculum. We'll get a further introduction into what that is, but I am thankful for all of her work, the detailed scope and sequence that she has created, and also the carving out of Maker Lab space that we will be able to have to effectively kind of enjoy this program. She is very much a creator of curriculum in addition to supporting teachers with their curriculum, and that goes with the remainder of the Inquiry Guides team, if I could have that next slide. And they may or may not be here, but Joanna Cowie, Aldona Joseph, and in addition, Kathleen Schroeder, they are also a part of our Inquiry Guides team, and they work individually in specific grade levels. And so you will certainly be hearing more about them from your children as they move forward. A day for many of us does include aftercare. We know that we are a beautiful, beautiful population of families for which, we work. We have wonderful professions. You are a shining example to your children as to the growth that can happen with them throughout school and throughout their professions. And so aftercare is certainly a wonderful piece and an extension of our community. Kids After Hours, who provides our childcare and who is providing that today, along with other activities as well. Adrienne Tantardini, she may or may not be here. She may already be readying for your children, and there she is. Absolutely. She is our Kids After Hours director, and so any and all questions that have to do with aftercare, you certainly want to direct to her. I do want to remind you, it is a wonderful, wonderful option to have, even if needing it for a drop-in service. So if you have not registered, even as a drop-in, for which you could have a meeting, you could have our beautiful traffic in the DMV that precludes you from getting here on time, being able to have that option is certainly wonderful. So if you have not registered, I do advise you to do so. We are winding down where we are, and so it is, what do we do to get ready for school? And if we can go to those next slides, just for us to really talk about the way in which the routine looks. We do start officially tomorrow, even though it is a short day, and we will be ending at 2:15. However, and that is our normal Wednesday schedule, just to remind you of that. Arrival students are permitted to arrive as early as 7:30. From 7:30 to 8, there is no fee. There are teachers who are occupying students. If weather is nice, they are outside. If it's inclement, we bring them in. The official day starts at 8:10 and ends at 3:10, except, again, on Wednesdays, for which we close an hour early for lesson planning, for division meetings and such. If you are arriving after 8:10, you would certainly want to be walking in and signing in with Pam to make us aware that you are arriving in late. We do have, based off of our school colors, a green and a gold week, and that does affect either the length of classes and or the classes offered that week. And so you will become much more aware of that as our time moves on, parents, but your children will make you very, very knowledgeable about what that means. Some of those essential things that you really do need to make sure that you have here, and if we could go to the next slide. Some of the essential things that you really want to make sure that you have, certainly because we are a school that is on beautiful, beautiful 70 acres of land, and we certainly utilize our outdoors. Based on our lower school farm program, we will be utilizing our outdoors much, much more this year, particularly in kindergarten through 5th grade. And so you do want to make sure that you have boots here that are suitable for rain and for mud. We will be out kind of rain or shine. Please know if it's torrential, parents. I can already feel some of that. If it's torrential, we'll make that decision. But generally, rain or shine, we are there. So you want to make sure that you have those that can be left here that are not overly expensive. Raincoat, one of those beautiful, wonderful things that I have loved in the 18 years that I was an educator between public and private schools is that private schools still go out when it is raining, and we still enjoy outdoors when it is snowing. And so please know that these kinds of things will certainly be necessary as the time moves on. Having comfortable sneakers, closed-toe shoes for PE, you will want to make sure that you have, and a reusable water bottle. We certainly, as a school that really prides ourselves on the stewardship of the earth and what our carbon footprint is kind of accumulating to be. We certainly do not want to have a lot of plastic bottles and things around, so if your children could bring reusable water bottles, they can certainly refill those throughout the day, and that would be appreciated. Again, some of those things I really mentioned, we can go to that next slide. The types of coats you want to have here, from snow boots to a winter coat to a hat, waterproof gloves, snow pants. It is the most beautiful sight to watch our lower school students on the saucer sleds and other sleds going down our massive hills when we have a glorious snow outside. It is fabulous. It is fun. I will be out there with you this year, so please make sure that you have all of the materials that you need to be outside. Okay? Internally in the lower school, I just want you to be aware that we certainly do begin to expose our students to aspects of student leadership that will really pick up come middle and upper school. Some of those aspects of student leadership are our climate committee, for which 3rd through 5th grade students are represented on that, and it is just that. They are there to talk about the climate of their grades, and they often have time to speak with me and speak with other members of administration in connection to the kind of health and the climate of those grades. Spark, which is the portion of student government in the lower school, it becomes Flame in middle school and Torch in upper school. So we love our fiery connections. But Spark, 4th and 5th grade students have the opportunity to really become a part of that division leadership there and really grow in their advocacy and their articulation around things that are important within those grade levels and our division. So I do want you to be aware of some of those aspects that become open to them. We won't spend a significant amount of time on our student behavior guidelines. We could go to that next slide, as these are a part of the community handbook. And in entering in with us this year, you certainly have made us aware that you've read over your community handbook, specifically the lower school section of that handbook, which does include our guidelines. I certainly want you to be aware that we are a school that prides ourselves on the way in which we treat each other. That comes from an open reflection on how we treat each other as adults. And that really does kind of trickle down to how students treat one another. There is just an air of the way in which we respect one another, we talk to one another in meetings, we have cordial disagreements with each other, as we certainly aren't always in agreement, and certainly that's what we teach our students, that there are varying perspectives, but it's the way in which you present those to one another that makes the difference. And so we try to just be living examples of what our behavior expectations are for our students. So that I can certainly assure you of. Margaret spoke a little bit, and we can go to that next slide, and this really is one of our last slides about how we communicate in the lower school. Certainly emailing, which has become just our normal form of communication for most of us, continues to be a very good way to communicate. I certainly love having phone conversations and have enjoyed speaking with many of you over this summer, so please feel free to do that as well. You are going to hear from your individual classrooms about the ways in which they will communicate with you, including the fact that we are piloting a new form of communication in our preschool through kindergarten through Seesaw, which will give you much more instantaneous information and a look into the classroom and the learning that is happening. But certainly teachers will be able to talk to you about the ways that they will communicate both themselves and the ways that students will communicate with you as well. And just to end, some of the upcoming events for you to be aware of, you will certainly have a fuller calendar, but just wanted to make you aware of some of the things that are moving forward, including today and tomorrow, what that looks like. But that we also do have Friends Day, which for our new families and for our returning families is a beautiful community event for which we have several of those throughout the year. But this really does start us off this year. It's a beautiful day that we spend as a community. That will be on Saturday, September 14th. We do have, of course, our picture days, our yearbook picture days already selected. So those of you preschool 3 through 2nd grade, you know when your day is, which is on the 18th. Our 3rd through 5th have their picture day on the 19th. Our first parent education forum will be on the 19th as well in the morning. And again, we'll be alternating between morning and evening each month. This one will be entitled Play-Based Education, What It Is and Why. It really does speak to the way in which and the philosophy that we adhere to in our preschool through kindergarten program. I will be sending out 2 articles that we will be using as a reference for those who will be attending to read that really provide 2 different perspectives, and I'm very interested to see what the thoughts are behind that, and I'm interested to see where our parents will take our discussion. And so those will be coming out to you as well. We certainly have wonderful speakers planned for this year also. I'm looking forward to Jen Court coming and talking to us later this year as it pertains to our students in terms of who are our students and who are they not. Very interesting title. Very good things to think about in terms of, you know, the students that we have and the ways that they learn now compared to the ways we may have been taught and the ways in which we learned. So that'll be a very, very good perspective for us as well. And then, of course, back to school night is on the 26th. Okay? Wow, I think I may have done it. I may have gotten us out of here a little bit earlier, which is great because we again have a 70-acre campus, which means getting to places and you think you might be there in a minute can take you a little bit more than a minute. And so just to remind you, in leaving here, we will have our classroom visits in lower school starting at 10 to 10:30. You certainly have the ability to then maneuver around the orientation fair at the athletic center, and there will be folks guiding you to the athletic center as well from 10:30 to noon. Our Get Acquainted conferences, for those of you signed up, those begin at 10:45 and move forward until 2. It has been wonderful to engage with you today. I look forward to working with you this year. Have a wonderful rest of your day.